This is like my 4th take doing this, bro. And the takes weren't even bad, I just lost the audio. Like, the audio kept messing up. But, yeah. Eddington, the new Ari Aster movie. Western, COVID, thriller, comedy. Stars Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, Austin Butler, Joaquin Phoenix, Michael Ward. It's a big cast. Deirdre O'Connell, Cameron Mann. Oh, my guy from, what are you from, mate? What are you from? Ted Lasso? Killers. Who's also in Fresh as Man. Alright, I'm just waffling, aren't I? Let's talk about Eddington. It's a tough one to talk about. It's a lot of layers to this one, man. Ari Aster, you know, his last movie, Beau is Afraid, was super divisive too, you know? I mean, I think it's aged fairly well. I think people are looking back on it kinda with time. Definitely a hard sell for the average cinema goer. It's a very strange movie. I loved it though. Definitely gave us like a peek behind the curtain on who Ari really is as like a guy. Like, that is an anxiety-ridden personal film. It was a crazy one. I recommend watching it. It's a big movie, 3 hours long. One of a kind for sure. You'll never get another one like Beau is Afraid. Eddington, tonally speaking, has a lot in common with Beau is Afraid, but this film is, honestly, you could argue, even more anxious. This is a film that is going to elicit a lot of primal responses from people, I think. It's about COVID, and it's a satirical, exaggerated portrait of what people looked like during COVID. And a lot of people are probably not going to enjoy reliving that in any way. The mask mandates, whether it be George Floyd and the police brutality and the protests, whether it be people sort of performatively being this, you know, activist. Everyone wanted to sort of stand for something and, you know, have a voice about whatever they believed in. And a lot of people did so very blindly, or followed along with the narrative and just sort of assumed that they were the end all be all. They knew everything about what we should do, how we should handle COVID, and then someone else would come along, nah, you're all messed up, you're listening to the news and that's wrong, and someone else would come along, actually, blah, 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 the stats say this, and it was just this whole crazy thing. And Eddington is here to basically bring this to the screen. And yeah, I think I've already seen a fair few people that are like, man, this movie can do one, I didn't need to see all this, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they had a bad time with the movie. Some people are saying the parodies, the satires, the ideas are cool, but in execution, it just didn't really say much. And this is where I disagree. This is my favorite film by Ari Aster, and it is my favorite film of the year. I think Eddington is awesome. I think it's excellent. I cannot stop thinking about it. And the fact that I'm even making this review after 3 failed attempts is my 4th attempt, tells you that I have a fair bit of passion for the movie. It is about Ari Aster before anything else. I personally think Eddington goes to painstaking efforts to not come off judgmental, condescending, but I also don't think it's like backing out. I also think this thing has a perspective. I think this film is pretty clearly just Ari like really trying to bare his soul and reckon with the world we're stuck in right now, and just sort of trying to understand it, or like, you know, he's not trying to say he can fix it. I don't think he's like here to provide the answers. I think he's desperate for the answers, and that, I think, stops the film from coming off like it's saying these guys were dumb, we shouldn't have done that, we're all stupid, blah blah blah, we shouldn't have done X and Y. I don't think this film ever comes off that way. And a filmmaker's films are going to be a reflection of themselves, you know, no matter what medium, whether it is film or music or writing, whatever there is, painting, you're always going to get a reflection of the person. Ari very clearly made this in a state of confusion and fear and anxiety. It's a pretty divided world, you know, we live in, especially when it comes to discourse on the internet. And I think Ari just felt very panicked about all of this and kind of used this film as his outlet. And I think that's what really made this film powerful for me. I could feel that as I was watching it, and it made me connect with it more. It achieves a lot more than offering a satirical reminder of what we all went through. That's something I have seen a few reviews say. And not that I want this whole review to be like responding to the negative reviews. I feel like that's not a great angle to take, but these are just points I want to make that I feel like I should say, otherwise I'll regret not saying them. You know, going into this film, as excited as I was to see it, primarily because it's an Ari Aster film, I'm going to be excited. I did have like a part of me that was a little nervous, like this might be really just weird, uncomfortable. I don't know what the tone is going to be. I don't know what the story really is. I went in fairly like just uncertain. I think some people will come away from this film like, oh man, it's just like a flip book of reminders of, oh, this happened, remember that, remember this, remember that. I should have more visual things to look at. Sorry, let me put on the trailer. That's kind of how I thought it was going to go down, but ultimately I think this film is a lot more about the human beings, the characters, and the people, how they respond. I think it's more about the psyche and the subtext behind the characters dealing with it. That is where the film places its emphasis, and that brings us to point 3. It uses the COVID pandemic as a jumping off point for genuinely very entertaining Western crime, thriller, I meant to put like, antics at the end or something. The film is a load of fun. Obviously, you're going to be hit with an emotion of some kind when you're seeing all this COVID stuff, you're seeing how it's all presented, you're going to be like, oh man, this might be uncomfortable, it's pretty awkward, anxious, you know, all that sort of stuff on purpose, and you're going to have a reaction to it. But when you just look at it as a plot, as like characters, actors, betrayals, action, just the adventure that this film provides you, in my opinion, it's a lot of fun. I don't think it's anything too like revolutionary, but with Ari Aster at the helm, it is very engaging. Like there's a lot of moments that have me like leaning forward with anticipation. The musical cues and the sound work are particularly great. There's one moment, it was with Emma Stone, and she was stood outside a car. She was looking very like ghostly. I don't know if I can find the frame anywhere. I would love to find it. She was looking kind of like how she does in this picture. She was stood outside Joaquin Phoenix's car. He's like pulling up to the house and she's there. They're married in the film. And she was looking like a freaking ghost, like apparition, just with this like crazy face. And then the music cut out and this little like, duh, this like violin like sound effect or piano sound effect came in, and like it was a horror movie, and it was fucking hilarious. Like just the sound cue really made me laugh. There's so much attention to just little camera motions and sound cues and people's placement in the frame. There is so much attention to detail. Just as a film is a delight to watch, in my opinion. And I feel like the COVID pandemic just gives way to a lot of really personal stakes for these characters. This might be my favorite Joaquin Phoenix performance ever. There he is with his sheriff hat on. Dude, he was unreal in this movie. I mean, he's an amazing actor. He's one of the best, but he was like very pitiful in the film. He is someone who's very clearly kind of obsessed with control and authority and power, and he can feel in the wake of this pandemic all of that slipping away. And I think you're just seeing like a downward spiral, and it is just electrifying to see the moments where you can feel the cogs turning in his head, and he's noticing like he does not have control. He's losing his police force. He sees Pedro Pascal's Ted Garcia making the rules as the mayor. He wants to run for mayor and change the rules for himself. He's seeing his power dwindle. And I think that's really the crux of this film. I think it's an exploration of like the fragility of people, and this pandemic was just a moment that highlighted that. I think every sort of archetype of person that was quite vocal during COVID is sort of depicted in this film, whether it be through Sarah and Michael here, who have a very interesting dynamic. Sarah's kind of a white guilt Black Lives Matter activist, just wants to do the right thing, but maybe is a little misguided in her understanding of the world and how it works. Michael is like her ex, who's a cop. You know, Sarah's like, you should be on my side. So I think the COVID time period was used really smartly. Every performance, even the most exaggerated ones, have layers of humanity. Yes, okay. Everyone here is not just some sort of silly satire. They all have like kind of a reason for why they feel the way they do. Suggestions towards like kind of layers of trauma and repression. They're interesting people with a lot of subtext. There's not a huge amount of subtext when it comes to just the satire itself. It's pretty on the nose. But when it comes to the people and the characters and the acting, there's a lot of hiding going on. Director. Get him out of here, man. What's he playing at? Yeah, oh, mate. I was going to mention that. Basically on his car, on Joaquin Phoenix's car, he's got like all these graphics, and one of them says you're being manipulated, but it's the wrong you're. Thought that was really great. The film does not tell you what to think. It instead encourages you to think. I don't think the film is giving you an explicit, like, this is how you should feel. But I think a lot of people are going to run with that. I don't think the film's doing that at all. I think it's just encouraging you to sort of consider, like, how it all looked in retrospect. And through that, maybe help you reckon with just the disconnect of people. Because I think that's what Ari's feeling and channeling through this film. And yeah, direction-wise, this is Ari Aster at his most confident, controlled, and stylish. This film is a fucking visual treat. Again, when you just treat this as an adventure, as a Western, dude, this thing is a really fun movie. Like, Ari Aster went fucking crazy. The first person shit was really cool when it was in the ending sequence. It kind of goes like full Coen brothers in the second half of this movie. Definitely does it justice. There's a few specific moments that I won't spoil. You could just feel the collective gasp, and and that tells me that Ari was doing something right. Those moments of release, the payoffs, the timings of it all was very intentional. It's a very astutely, precisely directed film, and it feels like his most, controlled. And also like he's having fun with it as well. I I think the satire in this film is secondary to the rallying cry it's hoping to inspire, which also goes into point 2. The film believes that it is important for people to fight for what they believe in, but is worried that we only seem to fight each other. The incorporation of technology in this film is fascinating. I really love how phones and screens and the internet is sort of framed in the story. It's a tough thing to really incorporate without it coming off a little gimmicky, like you get those films where someone's having a conversation, little text boxes come up, it's like, oh look, they're texting. Whenever there is a phone on screen in the film, I feel like the focus is never really on the phone itself. It's more to do with how the phone is influencing the person. The focus is always on the person. So I think it's definitely trying to make a point about the way technology enables evil people to have the control they want. And I think the film is saying, like, remember that the enemy is not each other. We're all just trying to figure it out together. Some people are very fixed in their beliefs and believe that they are correct, and that's that. And ultimately, you can get really annoyed at those people, but it's a futile effort. I think Ari's just trying to redirect frustrations to somewhere more productive, whether that be like technology, how COVID was exploited and used and divided us and blah, 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 stuff like that. I think that's really like what boils Ari's blood. I don't think it's him sort of trying to say that we're all dumb or anything like that. Lastly, we'll bring these down. I hope I haven't got the font size all fucked. Probably have. Oh my god. I mean, I've already made this point. I've seen people say like, oh yeah, this will be, at the very least, it'll be like a good little time capsule for what we all went through. Sure, it will, yeah, I suppose. I mean, it's a pretty exaggerated one, like I said here. But yeah, it works in that sense. To have a film that depicts what happened in a way that's kind of uncomfortably accurate and satirical, sure, that's cool to have and all, but yeah, I think it functions better just as a fucking entertaining movie. Like this, I think people forget this shit is just awesome. This movie's just fun as hell. This Brian character played by Cameron Mann, I think what they did with him just took the shit to the stratosphere, bro. That's the moment I really like believed in Ari's voice on this subject. Yeah, only downside for me is just Austin Butler. He kind of represents, I suppose, the conspiracy theorists of the COVID era, or the podcast voices that kind of managed to gain their own followings and all that. They handle him pretty empathetically. He was really interesting. I think there was layers there that just weren't explored at all. He just sort of fucks off. He's barely in it. If you're a big Austin Butler fan and you're showing up to Eddington like, here we go, it's Butler time. Got horrible news for you. You're looking at like 5 minutes of Butler, like not even that. He is like barely in the movie. And it was disappointing because I think what he provided performance-wise was loads of fun. I was really enjoying what he did. And the character just, I think, is a very essential piece of the puzzle as far as relating the effects of COVID to what the world looks like today, especially. But yeah, no, he kind of felt a little bit underdeveloped. But then again, it's a long movie. I guess you got to use the runtime carefully. I was not once during the 2 hours, 24 minutes or whatever it is, given something I didn't want to engage with. I think that's everything I got to say about Eddington. It's a 9 out of 10 from me. It's a 9 out of 10 from me. There's my score right there. Follow me on Letterboxd. I'm a Staple Buffalo, and you can see my reviews and ratings for everything I'm watching, the stuff I might not be covering on this channel. But yeah, let me know what you thought of Eddington in the comments. Goodbye.